Would you guys believe me if I told you that Trump actually found a way to sound even more conciliatory, weak, and pathetic on the Russia-Ukraine war than he did before? I didn't think he'd be able to top Vladimir, stop! Stop fighting! I didn't think he'd be able to top that, but you know, every time I underestimate Trump, he finds a way to impress, or whatever the antonym of impress is. This one's crazy. No matter what deal I make with respect to Russia-Ukraine, no matter how good it is, even if it's the greatest deal ever made, the failing New York Times will speak badly of it. Little Peter Baker, the very biased and untalented writer for the Times, followed his editor's demands and wrote that Ukraine should get back territory, including, I suppose, Crimea and other ridiculous requests, in order to stop the killing that is worse than anything since World War II. Why doesn't this lightweight reporter say it was Obama who made it possible for Russia to steal Crimea from Ukraine without even a shot being fired? It was also Little Peter who wrote an absolutely fawning, yet terribly written double-space biography on Obama. It was a joke. Did Baker ever criticize the Obama Crimea giveaway? No, not once. Only Trump. And I've had nothing to do with this stupid war other than early on when I gave Ukraine javelins and Obama gave them sheets. This is sleepy Joe Biden's war, not mine. It was a loser from day one and should have never happened and wouldn't have happened if I was president at the time. I'm just trying to clean up the mess that was left to me by Obama and Biden, and what a mess it is. With all that being said, there was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities, and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along and has to be dealt with differently through banking or secondary sanctions. Too many people are dying. And here we arrive at, like, the ultimate failure of Putin's strategy in cultivating a relationship with the Trump administration, which is when you have like Russian assets all over the administration, you know, and people directly colluding with the Kremlin. But Trump himself is too stupid to do any back dealing, right? Because if you do any like direct secret negotiations with Trump, what is he going to do? He's going to tweet about it. So instead, Putin flatters Trump. He's like, oh, Trump, you're such a big, wet, sloppy boy. You're the orangest of them all, or whatever. And Trump sincerely gets flattered by this and just likes Putin on a personal level. But now that everyone knows Trump isn't in charge of the White House, he has no real power. You know, he's never, like, Trump has never actually had the power of a president. You guys know that, right? Like, during Trump's first term, he was effectively a lame duck from day one. He was allowed to talk into the microphone and be a mascot. The actual government was run by the people in his cabinet who are just much smarter than him. It's not even a secret. Like, there are books written about this from people who were part of his first cabinet. He would wander into his daily briefings, not listen to what was said, just like idiotically ramble off a half-baked answer to the last thing that was asked of him, and then wander off, and he would go golfing. The government was run by the people around him. And it still is now, which is the people around him are much crazier now. Kind of true of Biden too, but yeah. Oh, completely. I think that Biden may have had more a hand in his administration because he did take a lot of like aggressively pro-labor actions at points, which I think were reflective of his genuine pro-labor sentiment. In Trump's case, he's legitimately just like out of the loop. He always has been. Also, Biden was, yeah, surrounded by smarter people. Anyway, Putin's strategy of like, well, Trump is genuinely stupid, so what if you just flattered him and get what you want that way? Now that everyone acknowledges, well, Trump has no power anyway, might as well continue this war, Trump's getting, like, actually hurt by it. Are you kidding? Like, do you have any idea how insane it is for the president of the United States to say, in reference to Vladimir Putin, it makes me think maybe he doesn't want to stop the war, he's just been tapping me along, and he needs to be dealt with differently through banking or secondary sanctions. Like, this whole time, the administration's been like, well, what if we leaned off the sanctions? You know, what if we, like, dialed back the pressure on Russia? And Trump's like, well, no, he's being mean to me. He's not listening to me. So maybe we do need to do the thing. Like, part of it is like, you actually thought this would work? And part of it is you're admitting that you actually thought that would work? Like, there are so many layers on a personal, psychological level. There are so many layers to the failing here on like a diplomacy level. It's insane. I'm genuinely awestruck. It defies reasoning. It really does. Macron shakes Zelensky's hand and snubs Trump. I think that Xi Jinping is the right idea. Like, people shouldn't even dignify Trump. The whole world basically treated Trump like an idiot anomaly the first time. And I think, like, Trump is less serious than any world leader that anyone hears about right now, okay? Even if you're talking about people like Kim or the Ayatollah or whatever, you know what they are? Actually leaders of their country. Trump isn't. He's not. Like, he's actually a stupid child. It's not even like treating him with contempt as some kind of like 40 chess move. It's just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're mean to him. Yeah, I saw Macron shook Zelensky's hand. Man. That's crazy. You all feeling it? The unprecedented respect with which the United States of America is being treated? Reminds me of people not shaking Putin's hand. Yeah, but the difference is, like, Putin's evil, but he obviously runs Russia. Trump doesn't run anything. There's another, it's the next segment. It's so important that I don't even want to talk about it right now, because it's from the Time interview with Trump essentially admitting that he does not have any knowledge of what's going on in the government, like, at all. I don't know, man. This is sleepy Joe Biden's war, not mine. Remember, the promise was he was going to end this on day one. The Trump-Zelensky conversation on the sidelines of the Pope's funeral was the first face-to-face encounter between the two leaders since they argued during a heated Oval Office meeting at the White House in late February. The confrontation led the White House to briefly pause U.S. military assistance and intel sharing with Ukraine. Days after ordering the pause, Trump also announced he was strongly considering imposing new sanctions and tariffs on Russia to try to prod Putin into negotiate in earnest. Trump has not yet followed through on that threat, something even some of his staunch Republican allies are now pressuring him to do. Then he excluded Russia from the f***ing tariffs, that's right. The White House said the discussion was very productive. Russia's already economically. Yeah, sure. Well, the one thing Ukraine was doing that was actually having a real economic effect was targeting their refineries. Because the shambling husk of the Russian economy is propped up entirely by their, like, petrostate. You know, and the Trump administration asked Ukraine not to do that anymore, which shows you where their priorities are. Why would Zelensky listen? He wants weapons. Thankfully, Ukraine's domestic weapons production is skyrocketing. To offset No More USA, they're set to produce 5 million drones this year. This one facility produces 4,000 a year. Or sorry, 4,000 a day. What the hell? A drone being made every 27 seconds? Sure, man, why not? Future of war. Hey, if we keep this drone business up, eventually, like, we're not even going to need people fighting the war anymore, right? We're going to make this, like, a completely humanitarian effort. Everyone just throws a bunch of drones at each other until eventually, like, one side runs out of drones. What does NAFO mean? NAFO is like if you're a pro-Ukraine groiper, basically. It's like, what if you want to have the energy of a smug internet neo-Nazi, but you're a pro-Ukrainian liberal, essentially. They aren't that bad, but yeah. My opinion on them soured when a lot of the big accounts started to be, like, aggressively pro-Israel. Like, man, how can you hate Russia but then defend Israel? They're literally the same country. They're also producing 36 of their own artillery systems every month, more than any country in the world in artillery production. Dude, the Ukraine. Oh, man, Ukraine is going to be such a permanent shit show. Trump told Time magazine he was only joking when he said he'd end the war on day one. You said you'd end the war in Ukraine on day one. Well, I said that figuratively, and I said that as an exaggeration because to make a point, and you know, it gets, of course, by the fake news, unintelligible. Obviously, people know that when I said that, it was said in jest, but it was also said that it will be ended. President of the United States of America. Trump didn't know Ukraine blew up a Russian general in Moscow 2 days ago. He was shocked when this reporter told him. That I did see.
This morning, they killed a Russian general. Do you have any reaction to that? Killed what?
Russian general killed by car.
Well, no, I just heard you just told me that for the first time. Where did this take place? It took place in Moscow. Right? Was it a Russian general? That's hitting close to home, right?
Here's the audio. There was a car bomb in Moscow this morning that killed a Russian general. Do you have any reaction to that? Who killed what? A Russian general killed by a car bomb. Well, you're just telling me that for the first time. Where did this take place? It took place in Moscow. It was a Russian general. That's hitting close to home, right? That's a big one. I'll look at it. So you can read this in one of two ways. One of which is that Trump didn't pay attention to his national security briefing. In all likelihood, though, my guess is that nobody told him. That's my guess. It does not seem like anyone's giving him any information. What do you do when, like, no one who runs the country is serious? They don't give him briefings? I guarantee you they don't. I guarantee you they don't give him daily briefings. You know why? Because if they did, we already would have heard reports on them. We already would have had people speaking under the privilege of anonymity to reporters about how Trump shat himself at one of them or something like that, you know? He's not having them. He's literally just like waking up and walking around the Oval Office. He's just chilling. Watching TV, playing golf. Speaking of embarrassing, this one was pretty bad. I don't think I saw this one. Trump to wounded soldiers.
And we all served together. Wow. And Jared over there.
And Jared over there.
So you guys got hit, huh? Pretty good. You got hit.
Pretty good.
Amazing.
We're in a pretty tough area in Kandahar, in the Arkansas River Valley.
Right, it's tough.
Kandahar. Their unit had a more than 50% Purple Heart rate, sir.
Wow.
In 2010.
You deserve it. You deserve that and more. We appreciate it so much. Brave, really brave, brilliant people. Thank you very much. Do you have any?
He's so funny, man. He's so funny. Every choice of words, you deserve it. Oh my God. Could you imagine the right-wing meltdown if Biden or Obama said something like that? I don't want to imagine it because I don't think that there is a right wing anymore. Because a right wing implies like an ideological holding, and we are living in the shadow of a cult of incompetence. No one believes anything. Like, what's the point of politics, man? It literally doesn't matter what the administration does. It doesn't move the fucking needle. I'm just here to make you laugh. What's the point? Like, at least the previous Trump administration, there was like a cabinet of more or less competent evil people running the country. Now nobody is. Nobody's running the country. All of our institutions are just running on inertia. You know that, right? All of them. None of these departments, the CDC, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Pentagon, all of them are melting down. It's not even like they're being run by evil people. The evil things, it's not just that they're being run by evil people, it's that they're not being run at all. They're being carved out by evil people, to some extent. Elon's dipping out because his feelings are hurt or something because the left made fun of him or whatever. You know, Hegseth, he's not doing shit. Everyone's leaving underneath him. It's been 3 months. Like, it's nothing. It's insane. ICE is the last government institution. It's crazy that you would say that and be correct with it, but that's probably true because ICE is one of the lone remaining organizations where there is a near perfect overlap between the psychopathy of MAGA and the actual goal of the institution. The Pentagon is basically Hegseth at the top. He dismissed his chief of staff. It's like every senior, we literally don't have an army. We don't have a military. We have there's nobody at the top. The deputy director of the CIA had a tanky son who fought for Russia and Ukraine and died. Absolute clown world. Well, I'm glad he died. You have any idea how Hitlerite you have to be a foreign legionnaire for Russia? My sister works in the MIC and it's a shit show already. They're talking 70% reductions in civilian staff by fall. If you think I'm angry about this, just you guys wait. Assuming I'm not sent to El Salvador by then, what happens when the next Democrat motherfuckers try to pick this up? Because I swear to God, man, a reckoning needs to be... Like, if our country and its institutions are capable of being lassoed in this direction, like this, nothing is acceptable except a complete rewrite. I'm talking a new constitution, by the way. You know ours sucks? It's the oldest working constitution. It's the founding document. We're still using it. Yeah, it sucks. And it doesn't do shit. It doesn't work. Everything is vague. It doesn't protect the right things. It's all up to interpretation. We need a goddamn cultural revolution. We need a woke whiplash, the likes of which that would get all of us sent to the goddamn gulags. Okay? I want tribunals for misgenderers. All right? It'll hit me too. As a man, I raise my voice in like a crowded subway station. It's over for me. 5 years hard labor. We need a goddamn cultural revolution. Bring it back. Hold on 1 second. I saw Ruben. It's suddenly very important to me that I bring him to the camera. Hello. Dun, 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 dun. Bam, 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 dun, dun, dun. You want to escape? You want to be free? Smush. Fish. Freedom? Freedom? Big jump? No big jump?